We are back with some more Giants franchise, and as you can see, the Super Bowl is over. And if you saw in the left-hand corner before I switched out, it was not that close. We'll start off in the wild card round. The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Steelers 31-17. We obviously lost to the Eagles 36-33. Cincinnati Bengals beat the Jets 35-21, and the Redskins beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 35-29. Moving on to the divisional round, the Bengals beat the Cleveland Browns 24-13. The Eagles lost to the Packers 51-13. Oakland beat Jacksonville 39-34, and the Rams beat the Redskins 54-10. Going to the conference championship, the Raiders and the Broncos had a rematch of last year, and he won 43-30. Another rematch of not last year's NFC championship, but I think 2 years before that, both years. Green Bay came in, beat the Packers 30-13. Green Bay was on a mission this year. I mean, you could just you could tell by the scores. Last game was a blowout. This game 30-13. It was also in the snow, and the Super Bowl 58-19. I mean, he was on a mission. I mean, that's really all it is to him. I mean, fourth quarter just came out and just sealed the deal, 24 points. I mean, Rich Volk had 6 touchdowns and only 1 pick, 541. There's nothing really much to say. I mean, he wanted the Super Bowl. I think this was a rematch of a Super Bowl that happened in year 2, I think. Season 2 or 3, this was the Super Bowl. The Raiders was going for a three-peat. He lost, so he is now still has 2 rings for him. And the Packers now has 2 rings this Madden cycle. And that was just a brilliant playoff run by him. And he just absolutely demolished everyone. As far as us, regular season was good. I mean, 3rd seed, won the division. Great job. Can't really complain about that. And struggled in the playoffs again. I just don't know what it is, man. Just don't know what it is. I think I'm going to change up my playbooks this coming year. I'm not sure what I really want to use yet, but I think I'm going to switch it up, try some new things out. I did cut a few people, but we'll get into all that. First things first, we'll go over some stats. Let's go over here. I'm going to try to do this faster than I usually do. We're just compare them to last year's stats. Daniel Jones tied his record. I broke this record when he won MVP the first time, which I think was 2 years ago. 57 passing touchdowns was the record for most passing touchdowns in a season, and he tied it with 57 again. So last season he had 50 touchdowns, 24 picks. This season 57 touchdowns, 19 picks. So less picks, more touchdowns, pretty damn good, and more passing yards. Last season he had 5,205 passing yards. With this season he had 5,665. So not bad on that. The one thing I did notice from this year to last year is we got sacked a lot more times. Last season we were only sacked, I shouldn't say only. We were sacked 68 times. This season 83 times. So about 15 more. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. About 15 more sacks. Actually, exactly 15 more sacks, I think. Which is not good. I mean, that's not good at all. You do not want that on your team at all, man. That's bad. Did rush a little better than Saquon, which I can't remember. I think Saquon was actually hurt for a portion of last season. I think so. So those numbers are a little skewed a little bit. He only played 9 games last year and had 944 yards, when this season played 15 and had only 1,200. So not really a good season for Saquon rushing the ball. That's why I kind of feel like I need to change playbooks. I don't know what it is about this playbook, but it's tough for me to run, and I don't know. I just don't know. So I think that's something we definitely have to change on. We got to get Saquon involved more, and we didn't really do it that much this season. He had 12 touchdowns this season, 8 last season, but like I said, he only played 9 games last season, and we played 6 more games, and we're only at 300 more rushing yards? Not even 300, under 300 more rushing yards. So got to do better with Saquon. Daniel Jones rushed a lot less as well. Last season he had 511 rushing yards at 3 touchdowns. This season he had only 239 and 2. Just passing more, I guess. That's pretty much the only result of that. Gallman last season had 900 carries, which is because of the Saquon injury, obviously. But Gallman really didn't get many carries. I mean, where is he at? Oh, spoiler. That's why you don't see the Gallman carries. We'll skip that for just a second. We'll go to receiving. I totally spaced. Last season, Darius Slayton had 65 receptions for 2,020 yards and 27 touchdowns. This season, pretty much a mirror of last season, but more receptions. This season had 77 receptions, 2,063 receiving yards, and 27 touchdowns. So same in the touchdowns, pretty much around the same yards, just more receptions. Just Slayton doing what he does, 2K yards like it's easy, and almost 30 touchdowns. I mean, this man's, he's a glitch, dude. He's an absolute glitch. Andy Graves, for a rookie year, did amazing. I mean, if we compare him to Keenan Allen, which he had Keenan Allen's role, Keenan Allen last season had 56 receptions and 968 yards and 9 touchdowns, and Andy Graves had about 20 more receptions with 74, had 1,500 yards, so it's about 600 more yards, and had 5 more touchdowns than Keenan. So just an absolute brilliant rookie season for Andy Graves. Couldn't really have asked better. I couldn't. Evan Ingram, pretty much the same as last season. Last season he had 55 catches, 921 yards, and 7 scores. This season, 57 catches, 782 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Just, I don't know if he's gonna work out for us. He's not. Yeah, I don't know. He's just not the tight end I think I want. I want a tight end that can block a little bit, and he can't do it for me. Saquon did better receiving this year than last year, which is good to see. Last season he had 30 receptions for 291 yards, no touchdowns. This season 45 receptions for 438 yards and 1 touchdown, so not too bad. Downing took a little step back, which is unfortunate. 24 receptions for 392 yards this season and 3. Last season he had 36 receptions for 598 yards and 4, so took a little step back. Don did pretty good, 16 catches for 268 yards and 2, for a rookie. Same thing with other rookie tight ends, 8 for 103. I mean, wasn't really expecting to get much out of those guys, and they did pretty good, to be honest. They really did. Blocking, I guess blocking really doesn't matter. We can look at sacks allowed and see who kind of choked. It was pretty much all of our starters. I mean, everyone's got 15, I guess, so it's a pretty even effort there. Nothing too crazy. Oh, it's game played. Oh, I'm so stupid. Luke Henry is the one, which is good, I guess, to see that, because he's the one I'm actually letting go. I decided to keep Riley. Oh, I was one of these two I was going to resign, and I kept Riley. So Luke leaving with the 18 sacks allowed. That's probably a good thing that we decided to let him go. Moving on to the defensive side. Ben Ham leads our team in tackles yet again. Not as much tackles this season as he had last season, but led our team in tackles. Last season, Ben Ham had 111 total tackles. This season, only 93. He had 19 tackles for a loss and 1 sack last season. This season, 16 tackles for a loss, but 6 sacks, so a lot more sacks this season. Had 7 picks last season and 6 this season, so Ben Ham still being in the middle of our defense, being an absolute monster. Last season, Jason also was second in tackles for us, and he's second in tackles for us this season. Last season, he had 87 tackles and 2 sacks and 10 interceptions. This season, 10 tackles for a loss, which is a little less on the tackles too, 72. No sacks and only 2 picks. So definitely a better rookie season for Jason than this season, but still a solid season. I mean, there's nothing really to complain. Baker did pretty good as well. He had 2 less picks this season than last season, so I mean, it is what it is. Baker's still doing his thing. He had quite a bit more pass deflections this season, which was nice. Jabril had 12 picks last season. This season he had 11. Just still being an absolute freak. I mean, this man is a monster back there. I couldn't imagine. I remember season 1 I was still trying to trade this man, which would have been insane. Marcus Rich, though, last season had 1 interception. You could tell the man's improving. 8 picks this season. He don't drop picks anymore. Last season he had 1. This season, 8 interceptions. Marcus Rich is definitely taking a step in the right direction, which is that's exactly what we want to see out of him. Newell has also taken a step in the right direction with 11 picks. Last season he only had 4. He did drop a couple this season too, so he could have even had more. But he played really, really well. Had more pass deflections this season as well. And he actually made the Pro Bowl, so that's kind of crazy there. Lorenzo Carter did okay, I guess. Last season he had 15 tackles for a loss and 7.5 sacks. This season 14 and 6 sacks, so just slightly less than the numbers he had last year. Let me scroll down here. Dexter Lawrence, last season he had 12 tackles for a loss and 12.5 sacks. This season, 12 tackles for a loss, 13 sacks, so kind of the same for him. X-Man took a huge leap, I feel like. Did get a little less tackle for a loss this season. He had 8 tackles for a loss last season, only 5 this season, but only had 4 sacks last season, and this season he had 14. So he just absolutely popped off in that department. 10 more sacks than the usual, which is just awesome. That is what we want to see out of him. Okay, get the speed rusher coming in there, have him just cook around the corner and get to the quarterback. That's what we want to see out of him, and he showed. It showed. BJ Hill took a little step back this year, I feel like. 9 tackles for loss and 10.5 sacks last season. This season, only 8 tackles for loss and 7 sacks. So, not the greatest on BJ. You know, I don't know why he decided to take a little step back, but he did. Tomlinson, I think, did a little bit better this season. Last season he had 6 tackles for loss and 6 sacks. This season he had 9 and 9 sacks. So pretty good season by him. Birch last season had 5.5 sacks. This season also 5.5 sacks. So still, you know, being that solid number 2 in the middle for us. That's pretty much it as far as comparing the last season's stats. Kicking, you know, not bad, not too bad. Punting is what it is. Kick return, we had some decent ones with Crockett, which is promising, and we also had some decent punt returns with Graves, which is promising. We're finally doing something on special teams. We'll go through the awards real quick here. Daniel Jones, MVP, which is what you want to see out of the boy. It's his second time winning MVP. Didn't really have anyone else nominated for that, but good to see Daniel winning that award. Coach of the Year is the Packers at 15-1. I think we were up here somewhere, yeah, at number 8, 12-4. We'll skim through the AFC awards here. Jazeer got Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, Chris Jones. Offensive Rookie of the Year is Jalen Early. Defensive Rookie of the Year is someone on the Broncos. Mr. Cornelius got Best Quarterback. Best Running Back is Jazeer. Best Wide Receiver, Mecole Hardman. Best Lineman, Quentin Nelson. D-Lineman, Chris Jones. Linebacker, Bud Dupree. William Jackson, Best DB. And Best Kicker, Dustin Hopkins. Moving over to the NFC side. Offensive Player of the Year. That was my drum roll noise. I don't know why it didn't work. Let me load out of it and load back in here. NFC. There we go. Daniel Jones, Offensive Player of the Year. Just getting all these awards. Slayton was up here at number 6, so good to see him there. Defensive Player of the Year, we had no one up here. Deion Jones, I'm pretty sure wins this every year, it seems like. I mean, it always seems like he wins it. It's absolutely insane. The Packers had quite a few people up here. Offensive Rookie of the Year, we got beat out. The Seahawks renamed their rookie running back to Mr. Clyde, who's on the Chiefs in real life. We were in first the whole time, and I think benching all my starters and having a rough Week 17 game, and I think he kind of popped off in Week 17. I don't really remember honestly, but got beat out for the Rookie of the Year, which is it hurts a little bit. It really does, because I thought Andy was gonna get that, but he must have just absolutely went off. Good to see Don Grant up here, and even my third tight end. So we had 3 rookies in the top 10. That's good to see. No defensive rookies for us. We didn't even have a defensive rookie that started. Anthony Valentine wins that award. Best QB, Daniel Jones. Best running back, Miles Sanders. Saquon at number 8, which is not good. Slayton was our number 1 receiver, and I think Graves was up here, right? Yeah, number 8. So both my receivers up here, which is what you love to see. The Packers just apparently have the best offensive line in history. He has his whole starting offensive unit in the top 10, which is crazy. Will Hernandez is up here at number 8. DeMarcus Lawrence, nothing new there. He pretty much always wins that award. Deion Jones. Did we have? I think we had. Yeah, Ben Ham was at number 7. Best DB, Jabril at number 3, and Newell at number 4. I mean, Newell's getting all these awards, which I was blown away. I was like, how is this man winning all these awards? Best kicker, Rosas was at number 5, and the Lions kicker won that. But I was like really shocked. I was like, dude, Newell is getting all these awards. I don't know what's happening. Going on to the Pro Bowl, I think we had like 5 people make it. I have pictures of it. Hold on, because we simmed that week. Daniel Jones was the quarterback 1 for the NFC side, which is good to see. Slayton was the wide receiver 2. Got beat out by DeAndre Hopkins for the 1 spot on the NFC side. I don't know. I'm not too sure about that one, to be honest. But Andy Graves made the Pro Bowl too at wide receiver 6, so he got that last wide receiver spot for the NFC side, which is cool, man. Make the Pro Bowl. That's what we like to see. Newell was the cornerback 2 for the NFC side, so good to see him, getting some awards and being an absolute beast. And Jabril, obviously, he's always pretty much the strong safety number 1 for the NFC side. He's just always there. It's like it's easy at that point. I mean, Jabril just always getting there. It seems like. Goes through some transactions that we've made. So I released some of these guys off the practice squad to free up some cap. I also released Wayne Gallman. I got $2 million in cap to release him. I took a penalty of like $400K, and I need cap space. I mean, that's the problem we're running into right now, is I need cap space. And I actually have 2 trades that I'm currently working on that would free up quite a bit of cap for me and allow me to, make a cheeky little move. So we're just waiting on that. We can't make trades until we get into the second stage of the free agency. So I'll free up more cap to hopefully be able to do some stuff in free agency, because last free agency I couldn't do anything. All I could do was sign Tyrod, and that's all I could do. So I'm trying to free up cap. I ended up letting Julian Love go as well, because I think with him I got like 1.8 in cap freed up, and then it took a penalty of like $600K. So I was just trying to free up some cap for this offseason. Re-signed one of our backup corners that got Khalid Keys, 1 year, $650K, super cheap deal. And I ended up franchise tagging Cameron Hawkins, our punter, for $3.44 million. I'm still barely over the cap right now, but once these trades go through and stuff, we'll definitely be under it. We'll be fine. I was trying to free up cap to re-sign Downing, and I sent him an offer that was a little bit less than what he was asking for. And because that's all I could afford with all the people I cut, and I was like, please, can you sign it? And he said no. And the franchise tag for a wide receiver is a little over $20 million, which I don't want to do. I do not want to pay him $20 million for a year. So I used the tag on our punter. It was super cheap, $3 million. I was like, okay, I want to keep the punter. I got one of our young corners to stay around, and I think that's all I'm going to have enough to re-sign. I'm going to let Tally go. Luke obviously going. I already talked about Downing. I'm going to let our fullback go. He has good lead block. Maybe I go back after him once these trades go through and I have more cap. Guys like Cecil I might go back after, or maybe some of these backup guys. But like I said, I got no money. I got to wait till these trades go through, which I can send trades, I think, in free agency stage 2. So I'm going to miss out on the big wave of the big stars, which I wouldn't even have enough money for anyways. But I would still have a decent amount of money if these trades go through, where I could sign a couple people around like Downing's level, like high 70s, mid 70s. So that's the plan. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video though. Next episode will be once the free agency is over. There is one more season confirmed left of this, but there is a possibility. It's looking like there's a really good possibility that there'll be 2 more seasons of the Giants stuff. So hopefully I can give you guys the playoff run that you guys deserve. It needs to happen, man. I need to lock in and just focus in and not dink around, and I just need to lock in, man, and just get you guys a good run that you guys deserve. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. I'll see you guys in the next one.